Jacob McGregor is from Ward 1. He is a 27-year-old accessibility advocate with experience having served on the city's advisory committee for accessibility and the Calgary Transit Access Eligibility Appeals Board. My upbringing and my time volunteering with the Conservative MP Pat Kelly have instilled the importance of getting the most out of your money, a strong work ethic, but also the importance of listening and finding practical solutions to issues. I want to lead by example, make sure Calgarians are getting the most for their tax dollars and upgrade the aging infrastructure and community meeting places in the established communities of Ward 1. So I'm really excited. Thank you so much, Jacob, for joining us. How do you view your role as a city councillor? Do you see yourself more as a representative of your ward or as the city as a whole?
So if any of you have either seen me at your doors, listened to my podcast, or maybe this is the first time you're gonna hear it, but I have always said I view this as a big job interview. You guys in Ward 1 are the ones hiring your representative. Ultimately, I have to listen to the people that hired me. With that said, of course, obviously, we're a city of a million people. I gotta work with the other people that are talking tonight because we do need to solve issues for the whole city as well.
What is one of the attributes of the incumbent councillor in your ward that you admire the most?
See, I thought this was a really interesting question because ultimately this whole process is semi-adversarial. So you end up thinking about a lot of the things you maybe disagree or don't love about your incumbent, especially if you're running against one. If I had to pick something I admire about Councillor Sutherland, though, I will say he does a good job of at least attempting to promote the business interest in Calgary as the head of the business advisory council and things like that. He really does care about the economy, even if we might disagree on the level of his execution of this mandate, but I do admire his commitment.
How did you celebrate the stampede during the pandemic?
So this previous stampede, I was actually sick, so I didn't get a chance to, but I look forward to this one coming up if we get a chance.
Do you have a land acknowledgement in your email or website?
Currently, I don't. I think that's something I need to examine, and especially in light of recent events. I think I've always thought it's important. I'm not one of those people that detracts from it, but currently I don't have one.
What will be the difference for our city with you as part of city council?
So I have to piggyback a little bit. When I'm on council, it will look a little bit different. And we're gonna need to work on some accessibility issues around the city. If one of the 15 city councilors has physical mobility issues, but outside of that, I'm very big into working as a cohesive unit. I need 8 votes to get anything I want done. So obviously I have to be able to work with people, which is something we're not really seeing right now. And I think what you're gonna get from me is honest and open communication.
So as we all seen, like, 36 is quite normal on a Calgary day. And I have my big question. I'm just gonna give you the setting here in Calgary Forest Lawn. We actually have like this outdoor pool, and it's one of my favorite places to go because it's nice and shaded because of all of the beautiful trees that the city already has planted. So my rapid fire question to you is, where is your favorite place to cool off on a hot, sunny Calgary day? Mm-hmm.
I've
Do,
always
do.
been a fan of just sitting in the shade, either in my backyard or in 12-mile Cooley Park. Of course, I have to also think of the Tuscany Club up where I live does have a splash park, but I don't have family, so I don't generally have a lot of reason to go there. So it's usually shade either in my backyard or in 12-mile Cooley Park. We have great
Actually, Jacob,
parks in the city.
what are some of your main objectives once you get into council?
So I'm gonna get through as many of these as possible because I have a lot of specific things I'd like to get done. Um, I want to, on day one, I want everybody to know I will be donating 10% of my salary and signing whatever I need to sign to not accept a transition allowance. This has to do with, like Jennifer said, building that trust back up and leading by example. And then there's some community level goals I would really like to see, like renovations to the Tri-Wood Arena and some of these older community spaces in and around my ward that people gather at, they spend time at. Uh, they raise their kids there. They recreate in these places. Um, Fixing our paths. These are things, like Aaron said, that affect people every day and their experience of the neighborhood. Um, my board has consistently told me we need to properly staff our new fire station up here in Tuscany. That hasn't been properly staffed since it was built, and that's just not safe. And what's worse, not a lot of people know that it's not staffed properly. Also, and I want to emphasize this as much as I can, you're gonna hear from me every week. I'm gonna have a day specifically devoted to constituent and community issues. That line's gonna be open.
What? When was the last time you went up the Calgary Tower?
Tower would have been a good 4 or 5 years ago. My family used to billet hockey players for the Max Midget tournament every Christmas when it came to town. And we'd always take those because they were European players and they would always want to go up the tower, things like that. But it's been a few years now.
If you had to come up with a new slogan for Calgary, what would it be and how did you come up with it? Because please note that our current slogan is be part of the energy.
Well, I'll start by saying I was always a fan of the Heart of the New West slogan that we got rid of a few years ago. But if I was to create one of my own, it would be the driving Canada forward. And this would be both economically and socially.
Which library do you use?
I'm a big audiobook guy, so I'm gonna be honest and say the biggest library I use is the Apple audiobook store. But for the
Perfect.
local libraries, I generally tend to go to the one at the Crowfoot Y or the what used to be Cardell Place, Vivo, for because those are the closest ones to me.
If you received $1 million grant for your ward, what would you do with it and why?
You know, it's funny you reference that song because $1 million used to go a lot farther than it would now. So I have to start off by saying, yeah, you gotta probably try and get more money out of your provincial and federal partners. But if you couldn't do it and only had $1 million to go on, you would I'd probably be putting it towards these smaller community projects. Lots of our community associations want to start like community gardens. We have pathways we need to fix, especially in Bowness. Pathways and sidewalks and things like this are falling apart. If we had a little bit of money for a specific project to help fix Trywood, or partnering with my friends in Ward 2 to maybe get some work done on COP and fix up our aging facilities there. These are things that people in the Northwest use and love and need. So these are projects I'd be working on for sure.
What is your one of your favorite restaurants that most people don't know in your ward that is your kind of like secret place?
Well, up in Tuscany where I live, our local drinking establishment, shall we call it, has really good food too. It's called the Last Straw.